Tonight on NewsWatch, State of the Union, from the president's speech to Rubio's Republican response. What Washington is saying about the condition of the country.
Plus, immigration in America. The latest on today's Senate hearing on the future of reform.
And why some say it's politically important for presidents to speak out about their faith. All this and more tonight on NewsWatch. Good evening. I'm Mark Martin.
And I'm Wendy Griffith. In his first State of the Union since winning re-election, President Obama laid out an ambitious second-term vision. It ranges from the economy to education to America's role on the world stage.
But his liberal agenda faces stiff opposition from conservatives. John Jessup begins our coverage in tonight's top story.
Emboldened by a second term in the Oval Office, President Obama declared a stronger America than 4 years ago.
Together, we have cleared away the rubble of crisis. And we can say with renewed confidence that the state of our union is stronger.
And to keep it on that path, he argued for a balanced approach to fend off the sequester. Automatic spending cuts to the military and domestic programs set to kick in next month. Both parties are talking about them as if they're a done deal.
I think we have to implement them to show the American people we mean business about spending cuts.
You will see furloughs. People will be hurt, both in the public sector and in the private sector that has contracts with the government of the United States to carry out research and development.
He also pressed Congress to create a fair, more competitive America. That would include raising the federal minimum wage to $9 an hour, investing in early childhood education, and creating a jobs program to fix the country's collapsing infrastructure. Ideas criticized by Florida Senator Marco Rubio in the official Republican response.
His solution to virtually every problem we face is for Washington to tax more, borrow more, and spend more.
Mr. Obama prodded Congress on climate control and continued his call for comprehensive immigration reform, an area where Democrats say they're finding more willing Republican partners.
I think they get it, and they get it only because the Hispanics have made them get it. They're growing numbers, all going to the polls to vote for a Democrat.
On national security, the president announced 34,000 U.S. troops will return from Afghanistan in the next year. And by the end of 2014, he says the war in Afghanistan will be over. He pledged to work closer with Congress in pursuing terrorists and addressing nuclear threats like Iran and North Korea. The president also took the opportunity to focus on the fight for gun control, naming victims from recent shootings who were in the chamber.
They deserve a vote. Gabby Giffords deserves a vote. The families of Newtown deserve a vote. The families of Aurora deserve a vote. The families of Oak Creek and Tucson and Blacksburg and the countless other communities ripped open by gun violence, they deserve a simple vote.
One Republican congressman said the president's focus to prevent violence on children is too narrow, saying he fails to remember lives lost to abortion.
When he talks about 1,000 children that will never have birthdays in the last month or so, he leaves out the 4,000 children that died today in abortion clinics that will also never have birthdays.
While Republicans will create roadblocks for the president's second-term agenda, the president faces another challenge, time, which is not on his side. Political scientists agree second-term presidents usually have between a year to a year and a half before attention shifts to the next wave of elections, which means President Obama has little time to pull off any major legislative feats. John Jessup, CBN News, Capitol Hill.
And joining us now to take a closer look at the State of the Union address is Dr. Charles Dunn. He's the Distinguished Professor of Government at Regent University and author of the book, The Presidency in the 21st Century. Dr. Dunn, great to have you back on the program.
Glad to be here.
Well, you watched the President's State of the Union. How did he do?
I give him very high marks for the delivery, the style. And whoever wrote that speech in the White House deserves a big pay raise. It was a very well-crafted speech. But digging down into the weeds of substance, I have serious reservations about. One, historically, what did John F. Kennedy say in that most memorable comment at his inaugural in 1961? He said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." Obama did exactly the opposite of that last night, promising people everything. And let's think of Ronald Reagan. One of his most memorable comments, what did he say? That government is the problem. And we have then two presidents, one Democrat, one Republican, both at odds with the approach taken by President Obama last night.
Well, he talked about job creation, but is that kind of doublespeak with so many people losing hours and losing their jobs because of Obamacare? I mean, can he have it both ways? He
cannot have it both ways. Your question's well put. Obamacare, for example, there are major court cases pending now about it. This could end up going into the dustbin of history. Now, I'm not predicting that. But the point of it is that Obamacare is not doing for people what he had promised that it would do. There's a big credibility gap in what he's saying between promise and performance. And if we look at this matter of unemployment, there was the promise of the billion or trillion or however many dollars of stimulus money. It's not paid off.
Something he didn't have to deal with in his first term that he dealt a lot with last night is the new debate on gun control. How do you rate his remarks on that?
But on gun control, and it's but one of several issues where, yes, the president has a pretty high popularity rating. Gallup just in recent days, 52%. But if you dig down to these issues like gun control, the American people are not with him on those key issues.
Okay, so an A on style and a C- or D on substance?
Maybe lower.
Ooh, all right, Dr. Charles Dunn. You're a teacher, so we'll definitely take that seriously. All right, thanks for being with us.
Good to be here.
Low grades on substance. Well, there was much anticipation surrounding Marco Rubio's Republican response to the president's speech. He talked today with David Brody about what he said and about the future of his party.
What is one way that you believe that your address, if you will, contrasted the president's?
Well, I believe the free enterprise system is the source of our middle-class prosperity, and the president thinks the source of our middle-class prosperity is the government. In fact, it's a pretty far departure from where most presidents have been. As I said last night, Democrats and Republicans, from John F. Kennedy to Ronald Reagan, have understood that our free enterprise system is the source of our middle-class prosperity. The president thinks that our free enterprise system is the source of our problems.
This free enterprise system that you've talked about, I mean, Mitt Romney talked about this for a couple of years in the campaign trail, or at least the last year of the campaign trail. Why would it be different here specifically in terms of the future? I mean, it didn't necessarily translate to victory in 2012.
Well, we have to keep talking about it until hopefully the people make the connection that don't agree with us right now. I think the way you do it is you outline people's lives. You talk about how it's impacting them.
I am curious about deficit reduction, because when the president talked about deficit reduction, you know, a lot of folks probably just, you know, laughed at some point. I'm just wondering, do you believe he's being deceitful on that, or do you believe he's being real honest when it comes to wanting to reduce the deficit?
He doesn't understand what the danger in the deficit is. I mean, first of all, the deficit is how much we owe every year. We have a national debt that's already $16.5 trillion. That figure needs to be brought down or stabilized in comparison to our overall budget. And the only solution to that problem, the only solution, I mean, there is no other solution, is the combination of rapid economic growth and stabilizing our spending in future years. That's the only, you have to do both. And there is no tax increase that will help us do that.
Talk to me about the Republican Party and the future of the GOP. What is the biggest challenge right now for the Republican Party?
Well, I mean, the challenge is to continue to apply our principles to the challenges of the 21st century. And the challenges of the 21st century in some ways are different than the challenges of the 20th century. The reality is that we do have societal and moral decay in our country, as I outlined last night, and many of the answers to those problems don't lie in our politicians. They lie in our faith, and they lie in our families. And I think it's okay for government officials to say, you know, one of the leading causes of poverty has nothing to do with government. It has to do with broken families.
All right, so Time Magazine, the Republican savior, does that come with a Superman cape? Have you tried that out?
Well, you know, as last night, as you saw on the broadcast, God has a funny way of reminding us we're human. When I had to take a drink of water, and everybody's having a lot of fun with that. You know, look, there are no saviors in politics. There's only one savior, as I tweeted out, and it isn't me.
It's a hashtag, too.
It's a hashtag, is it? Yeah, it's right. Yeah,
Jesus,
it's a hashtag, Jesus, yeah. But, you know, the bottom line is, look, I'm a public servant. There have been other people in the past that have been talked about the way I'm talked about now, and there'll be other people talked about me in the future, maybe as early as today. So my job is to come up here, do the best I can on behalf of the state of Florida and the United States of America. The rest takes care of itself.
Don't worry, Senator. We all need our water from time to time. All American companies are the target of an intensive cyber espionage campaign. That's one warning the president sounded during his State of the Union address last night. The president signed an executive order Tuesday to strengthen the nation's cybersecurity infrastructure. The order calls on U.S. industry to create new voluntary standards for protecting information. It also expands the government's role in sharing threats with other companies. The president also urged Congress to act now by passing legislation to give government a greater capacity to secure our networks and deter attacks.
Arizona Governor Jan Brewer is emphasizing the need for more security along the U.S.-Mexico border. The U.S. Customs and Border Protection officials have said the border is more secure than at any time in history. But after a 3-hour aerial tour of the border in southern Arizona, Brewer says more needs to be done.
I truly believe we need more boots on the ground. The ranchers will tell you they'd like the National Guard down there because that was very productive and it was a deterrent because people would see the National Guard.
The governor says she will not support a change in immigration policy until the border is secure. Just how to make changes to immigration policies took center stage at the Senate today.
As Paul Strand reports, advocates and opponents of reform spoke out at a Senate judiciary hearing.
Nothing but true, so help you God.
This wasn't just the Senate's first immigration reform hearing of the year. It was possibly the first one where an openly illegal alien testified.
I come to you as one of our country's 11 million undocumented immigrants. Many of us Americans at heart, but without the right papers to show for it.
Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Jose Antonio Vargas called on Washington to ponder the plight of the illegals.
For all the undocumented immigrants who are actually sitting here at this hearing, for the people watching online, and for the 11 million of us, what do you want to do with us?
Many former opponents of immigration reform in Congress have said they're ready for it now, but only if the Mexican-American border is secure first to prevent a new flood of illegals. Homeland Security Chief Janet Napolitano told this hearing that's been largely dealt with.
Our border is better staffed with more people, infrastructure, and technology than at any time in our nation's history.
But Texas Republican John Cornyn said that's not what he hears from border agents in Texas.
We probably catch about 1 out of every 3 individuals who try to make it across.
And Jessica Vaughn, representing a largely anti-immigrant think tank, said a government that so mishandles visas and paperwork for foreigners now can't be trusted to do it better in the future.
One of the worst examples was Mahmoud Abu Halima, a cab driver from New York City who was approved as a farm worker and later went on to help blow up the World Trade Center in 1993.
Also on hand was the union boss for Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE agents. He complained the Obama administration is so much on the side of illegals, it's almost criminal.
Morale is at an all-time low as criminal aliens are released to the streets, and ICE instead takes disciplinary actions against its own officers for making lawful arrests.
But Republican Lindsey Graham pointed out reforms needed because just cracking down on aliens and walling off the border will never do.
You could build a 100-foot high wall, and if you're getting a job pretty easily on the other side of the wall, people go under it or over it or around it.
So the prediction is there'll be a reform deal in the near future. Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.
Coming up, why horse meat is at the center of a huge scandal in the UK.
It's probably something I've had for many years, and every year the PSA would be a little higher. I just kept kind of ignoring it. You know, one of those guy things. It'll go away. It'll go away. Finally, one day, Janet says, "You're going to the doctor." They did a blood test. My PSA was 14. I needed to get a second opinion, so we contacted Cancer Treatment Centers of America.
To find out more about Cancer Treatment Centers of America and our unique treatment options for complex and advanced stage cancer, go to cancercenter.com.
The really great thing is that you just go online, and if you have prostate or lung cancer or whatever, you can see what their survival rates are.
You can also check for participating insurance plans. Cancer Treatment Centers of America is different. You feel it the moment you call or walk into one of our hospitals. It's state-of-the-art medicine, unique treatment options, and a level of compassion that cannot be copied. Why? Our people. People who give you not only their expertise, but their humanity. and the most thoughtful, well-organized, patient-centered care you'll find anywhere.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America go way beyond what normal hospitals do. I knew that they had the technology to take care of my cancer. It's a device called Calypso.
Calypso is GPS for the prostate. We're able to get 4-dimensional real-time tracking of prostate movement during radiation treatment.
It eliminates a lot of my side effects. It makes sense. It just makes sense. I own a deli. I'm back at work. My customers come in and say, "Gosh, you look good." And some of them say, "I look better now than I did before I left." I didn't expect to learn a lesson about how to treat people by being in a hospital. You can tell when somebody really cares.
Every minute counts when you're fighting complex or advanced stage cancer. So please call or visit cancercenter.com today. Appointments are available now. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. Care that never quits.
Welcome back. Today is Ash Wednesday, the start of the Catholic Church's Lenten season. It also marks Pope Benedict's first public appearances since announcing his resignation.
Dear brothers and sisters, today, Ash Wednesday, we begin our yearly Lenten journey of conversion in preparation for Easter.
The Pope says he's resigning for the good of the Church. The 85-year-old pontiff says he simply does not have the strength to continue. He asked the faithful to continue to pray for the Pope and the Church. Benedict's final official acts as Pope will include meeting with the Romanian and Guatemalan presidents this week and the Italian president February 23rd.
The French National Assembly voted overwhelmingly to legalize same-sex marriage and adoption by gay couples. The measure now heads to the Senate, where it's expected to pass. Hundreds of protesters gathered outside the National Assembly Tuesday to protest the bill. But polls show that most French people support legalizing gay marriage. About a dozen European nations now allow same-sex marriage.
Well, here's a bizarre story. Horse meat is at the heart of a food scandal rocking Europe. The Romanian government says it exported more than 6,000 tons of horse, mule, and donkey meat last year. Ooh, and that it was correctly labeled when they sent it to other European countries. But once it hit the market in those countries, it was sold as beef. John Waggy reports.
The meat was processed at 35 different Romanian plants like this one in the town of Botoșani. Romanian officials say the horse and donkey meat was correctly labeled and sold to buyers in 8 European countries. Julian Kazacut, the general manager of the Dolecom Romanian plant, says he can guarantee that all the products his company puts on the market are certified from the point of view of quality and origin, 100%. But somewhere along the line, the horse and donkey meat was labeled as beef. The British grocery chain Tesco says tests showed that some samples of their frozen spaghetti contain more than 60% horse meat.
Now, this is completely unacceptable. That's why it's right that the Secretary of State has led these meetings with retailers and producers. We've agreed a tougher inspection regime. We've asked hospitals and schools and prisons to check with their suppliers that they are testing their products.
Romania may not be the only source of the horse meat. British food safety authorities raided a slaughterhouse in northern England and a meat processing plant in Wales this week, suspected of selling horse meat used in burgers and kebabs. It's a violation of the law that all European governments are trying to get a handle on.
It is completely unacceptable that anybody should be involved in the production or the sale of a processed beef product, which includes horse.
And the public reaction?
I've discussed it. I think it's really bad. I don't understand how they can allow it.
It's more immoral, I think, as much as anything else. They're selling it off to be something it isn't.
One British official says beef products aren't the only meat that may be mislabeled.
If I was a retailer, I'd be looking quite carefully at my lamb products as well.
The meat scandal is now clearly on the radar screen of European officials, but until they track down the source of the faulty labeling, the watchword seems to be, let the diner beware. John Waggy, CBN News.
Up next, mixing religion and politics, how presidents can use faith to their advantage.
Listen up for an amazing offer that can change the way you hear.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Can you repeat that?
Frustrated with your hearing?
What did he say?
Well, hear better now. Introducing the fully rechargeable MSA 30X, a revolutionary device that features the latest microsound amplification technology that can barely be seen. Independently tested to help you hear up to 30 times better. It turns ordinary hearing into extraordinary hearing. MSA 30X works by capturing and amplifying sound waves, yet its lightweight ergoacoustic design is discreet. It form-fits in and around either ear.
I forget I'm even wearing it.
And MSA 30X is powerful. Hear clearly in restaurants. Never miss another word on TV or at the movies.
My wife complains that I have the volume up on the TV too loud.
And I didn't want to be in the same room with them.
Now I can hear everything clearly.
Simply adjust the volume as you desire. Other units use so many batteries and they're difficult to change. But the MSA 30X is completely rechargeable. Simply plug it into the wall.
I tried other devices that had batteries, but they were always such a pain to change and so costly. But this is rechargeable, so I figure I save hundreds a year.
Bulky sound amplifiers can cost hundreds, but try MSA 30X for just $59.95 and we'll include a cleaning brush and 5 comfort tips. But wait, in this special TV offer, we'll cut the price in half. Now you can hear up to 30 times better for just $29.95. But there's even more. We'll double the offer free. Just pay additional processing and handling. Wear them both or give one to a loved one. Did you hear that? That's 2 MSA 30Xs for just $29.95. The MSA 30X Hear Better Now offer. Get 2 for just $29.95.
All I can say is just try it. It could change your life.
To order the MSA 30X sound amplifier, call 1-800-535-0654. That's 1-800-535-0654. Or you can go to MSA30X.com. Call or go online now.
Rick Warren says religious freedom is under attack in America. The pastor of Saddleback Church in California spoke at a forum on religious liberty at Georgetown University. He called the birth control mandate in Obamacare a direct attack on religious liberty, and he predicted the Supreme Court will strike it down.
It's a debate that's gone on for decades. Is it okay for presidents to mix religion and politics? A lot of folks will say it depends on whose politics and whose religion. Heather Sells explains in tonight's Focus Report.
Annual Reagan Symposium took on the 2 topics that were once considered socially taboo, religion and politics. As the experts explained, there's good reason for presidents to speak to issues of faith.
When presidents speak, they want to speak to their audience, and they want to speak at the level that the audience can relate to.
It resonates with people that we're not just squabbling about taxes and that sort of thing, but that we have a common purpose together.
One of the most effective uses of religion in politics came in President Reagan's Evil Empire speech, where he framed the Cold War in moral terms and helped to bring down the Soviet Union.
They are the focus of evil in the modern world.
Sometimes words like that, words as weapons, that can be even more powerful than any fleet of cruise missiles or Navy ships.
Dr. Paul Kangor says at the time in 1983, many in the media bashed the speech as religious bigotry. But in the end, it helped to hasten the fall of the Soviet Empire. Still, experts at the conference agree that presidential use of religion is not always appropriate and can be abusive.
Where I see it is when presidents make claims that are based on selective interpretation of Scripture or misleading interpretations of Scripture. We need to recognize that our presidents are laymen with regard to theology and Bible understanding.
The symposium speakers gave President Obama high marks for using religious speech effectively.
He has a lot of experience in the church. He's very comfortable with religious language. I remember on the 10th anniversary of 9/11, he read Psalm 46.
But they note the president's policies that critics say restrict religious liberty, like the contraception mandate in Obamacare, have created confusion about his deepest beliefs about faith. As for the future, Americans should expect more conversation about religion from their presidents, but also be prepared for some change.
As the American population diversifies and more religions become more prominent, I think you are going to see recognition of that in the public rhetoric of the presidents.
One dynamic that may not change, the demands of the Oval Office, which over time invite presidents to seek divine help.
At some point, the job becomes so overwhelming that you've got to look outside of yourself. And for every president that we've ever had, they've looked upward.
Heather Sells, CBN News.
Up next, some heart-healthy alternatives for the last-minute Valentine's Day shopper.
Listen up for an amazing offer that can change the way you hear.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Can you repeat that?
Frustrated with your hearing?
What did he say?
Well, hear better now. Introducing the fully rechargeable MSA 30X, a revolutionary device that features the latest microsound amplification technology that can barely be seen. Independently tested to help you hear up to 30 times better. It turns ordinary hearing into extraordinary hearing. MSA 30X works by capturing and amplifying sound waves, yet its lightweight ergoacoustic design is discreet. It form-fits in and around either ear.
I forget I'm even wearing it.
And MSA 30X is powerful. Hear clearly in restaurants. Never miss another word on TV or at the movies.
My wife complains that I have the volume up on the TV too loud.
And I didn't want to be in the same room with them.
Now I can hear everything clearly.
Simply adjust the volume as you desire. Other units use so many batteries and they're difficult to change. But the MSA 30X is completely rechargeable. Simply plug it into the wall.
I tried other devices that had batteries, but they were always such a pain to change and so costly. But this is rechargeable, so I figure I save hundreds a year.
Bulky sound amplifiers can cost hundreds, but try MSA 30X for just $59.95 and we'll include a cleaning brush and 5 comfort tips. But wait, in this special TV offer, we'll cut the price in half. Now you can hear up to 30 times better for just $29.95. But there's even more. We'll double the offer free. Just pay additional processing and handling. Wear them both or give one to a loved one. Did you hear that? That's 2 MSA 30Xs for just $29.95. The MSA 30X Hear Better Now offer. Get 2 for just $29.95.
All I can say is just try it. It could change your life.
To order the MSA 30X sound amplifier, call 1-800-535-0654. That's 1-800-535-0654. Or you can go to MSA30X.com. Call or go online now.
Well, it's February 13th, so you know what that means.
Valentine's Day Eve.
That's right.
Yeah, and for some of you procrastinators, that means running out to the store for those last-minute gifts. Tomorrow, more than 36 million heart-shaped boxes of chocolate will be sold, and that translates into a lot of sugar and fat. But there are alternatives.
Some dark chocolate drizzled fruit is a great option. Dark chocolate strawberries are wonderful because you're getting the benefits of the dark chocolate, as well as the vitamin C, the B vitamins, and the dietary fiber. Things like almonds and walnuts and cashews are really great heart-healthy choices. And if you wanted to do some nuts as well as drizzled with some dark chocolate, it's a great addition for Valentine's Day.
Besides sweets, more than 50 million roses will be sold this Valentine's Day alone.
A lot of red ones.
Yeah, that's right.
Chocolate, dark chocolate covered strawberries. It does sound like really great alternative.
I like dark chocolate, and it's nice to know it's good for you too.
All right, so you're all set with your wife, huh?
Yes. Went out last night. I wasn't a total procrastinator. Better than today.
The truth comes out. Well, better late than never. That's all for this edition of Newswatch.
Have a great night. Thanks for watching.
Good night.